Word, son. What do you do, you two? It's your boy, DiVine. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is me in the flesh. I got a new face cam from Elgato. Elgato, please sponsor me. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is me. Yes, here I am. I'm no longer hiding behind the videos. I decided to pick the podcast back up, man. This is kind of an idea I had going on. So we're just gonna throw a dart and then see where it lands from there. But ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy J Divine, just Divine, J Divine, just J Divine. It don't matter. I answer either or. Um, yeah, man, before we get into this, man, make sure you hit the like button, comment, subscribe, share the word, spread links because you do know how I do. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, click the bell icon to be notified every time I upload. Without further ado, let's get into it. Today's date, ladies and gentlemen, is what is today's date? This time of the recording, it is Saturday, June 18th, the day before Father's Day 2022, and Juneteenth. So don't forget about that. Black folks, make sure you get that day off. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the woman, because no time's supposed to go man. It's the woman, the myth, the legend. If y'all haven't heard of her already, y'all make sure I need to go check her out. Jasmine Castillo. I know I probably said that so wrong. I didn't put the right inflection on that. But ladies and gentlemen, Jasmine is here. This is my good friend. I've known her since I was back in Texas. I'm in Georgia now. But if you ever remember any of my story times that I did, and I always say like this older woman that I used to come by the job all the time to work with, this is her. Like she's like super duper cool, bro. Like let me shut up, man. Jasmine, go on and introduce yourself to the folks.
Yeah, enough. All right. You're doing a great job, but anyway. Yes, it is the inflection is it's somewhat spot on, but it's Jasmine Castillo and yeah, thank you for letting me on your show.
Absolutely, man. Like I'm pumped because, like I said, this is like a kind of different spin on the podcast that I wanted to do. So, yeah, man, this is actually kind of dope. I've been wanting to do this for a while now. Like I said, the podcast was cool, but it's just I found myself kind of getting like stagnant with it, and I didn't want to die out so fast. You know what I mean? So it was like I had good things to talk about, great points, but it was just like I was just like, fam, I can't do this like forever. Like you know what I mean? Because I can keep the content going, but I just feel like I'm a fizzle out at some point. So I was just like, let me figure out how exactly I'm gonna go about this. But yeah, man, it's actually good to have you on here because if anybody does not know, I don't know why I never put this up on my channel. I should have did it a long time ago, but whatever. But
Yeah.
it's not even whatever. Like I it's actually she actually has a podcast. She's a podcaster, and I'm not gonna say the names. I'm gonna let her do that because that is her podcast. So, Jasmine, if you will, let the good folks know what are the podcasts that you have had and are currently on, if you will.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I actually have three, but only two is kind of out in the public. The public
Okay.
side, the other one's a little bit of a family project, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
But the first one I started was in 2021. It is actually called Noise Zion, and it's kind of a podcast that promotes small businesses, entrepreneurs, musicians and artists, which is where Jay Divine got into one of the, I think it was episode 4. So
It was, yeah.
yeah, he's definitely on there. So you definitely need to drop that on your page. That's
Yeah,
for damn sure.
yeah, I definitely do. Was a matter of fact, link in the description box down below. Y'all click that link if y'all haven't clicked there already. Link in the description box down below. You should be able to go check that out. Is it the video or is it the audio only?
It is a sneak peek clip, but it's also I believe I have the audio as well, all
Okay,
on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. But if not, I'll definitely load up in a place where anybody can listen to it. So,
okay.
I mean, I could give them the whole raw, which was like 2.5 hour video, but I don't think anybody wants to hear all that shit.
All right, because it did.
Oh my
I mean,
god.
this podcast is already edited. I already took out all the filler stuff by now, so it's all good.
Yeah, yeah. And then the other one is fairly new. I just started it this year, and it's actually true crime podcast that brings awareness for people of color community as well as the LGBTQ community, which we are lacking in the true podcast genre.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's actually doing pretty well. I just had 3 interviews in the past week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Quite juicy stuff. One was a former private investigator, and he created his own nonprofit organization in Brooklyn, Buffalo, New York area. And I did get to speak with a couple other parents who have two missing persons. One of them was already dropped this last week Thursday for Crystal Turner,
Mhm.
the mother of another person that will be dropping for next week as well. So
Okay.
a lot of stuff going on, dude. Like it's insane how there's just so much going on that I'm really beginning to doubt more and more about the law enforcement. If you want to clip that out, I don't give a fuck. But
No, that's cool. No, we keeping all this in there. You didn't heard all my podcast. You didn't heard the shit I done went into. We keeping all that. We could dive into that if you want to.
dude, like the nasty cesspool of so-called law enforcement, the lack of diversity, the lack of psychology, lack of negotiating, and the lack of empathy for a lot of the families who are reaching out to them for a lost loved one, which pisses the fuck out of me because like literally they'll tell you the one I just talked to yesterday, um, private investigator who works directly with family. He is related in some way. He knows the family from high school. The mother from high school. Her daughter is the one that's missing. It's been missing for 5 years.
Okay, so on the podcast, all right. So on the podcast, I remember, matter of fact, when I was a guest on your show, you sprinkled in a little information that you came from the UK actually.
I sprinkled the information that I was raised in the UK. I was born overseas, but raised in UK, and then came to Americas in '88.
So what was it like growing up in the UK? Do you remember?
Just a little bit.
In it, so it's kind of wild, ain't it?
In it, yeah. Automatically, when I start talking about the UK, I start having like this British accent just starts coming out for some particular reason. But yeah, it's absolutely it's quite interesting.
I didn't even. I had no fucking clue. Like no joke. I remember when you said it. Like you just glossed over, and I was like, wait a minute, you actually grew up over there? And I was like, no way, because like I said, I would have never guessed that when I saw you. Like that reaction when you told me that, that was a true genuine reaction. I was like, what? Are you for real?
Hmm.
I was like,
Hmm.
no way, bro. I had no
I
idea.
love. I love UK. It was just one of the things that being an Air Force brat. That's the reason why I was originally in the UK is because we were right off the Air Force base. We were there twice. So the first time we were actually on base. We were originally living on the base. Last time we were there, we actually were off base about 20 miles off.
Hmm.
So, um, but yeah, I think one of the things I really enjoyed is just the people. Kind of remind me a lot about Texans. They're just another proper version of Texans, if you could,
Right.
if you could actually kind of compare the two. But the weather reminds me of Seattle, like Oregon, Seattle. Always
Hmm.
gloomy, always rainy.
Hmm.
The people are like sunshine. They're like nothing but sunshine. They walk around with just great people to talk to. They're very sociable and so yeah. If I can go back to it, I would. I mean, just to have my kids see where mom used to be.
Hmm.
You know, I definitely want to have them go to where my birth town. So
The
it's
only
have
only
some.
only thing that throws me off about like UK, like in those types of areas, is like the streets. That shit throws me the fuck off because it's
Stones,
so, huh?
cobblestones,
Yeah, it's like not even that. It's just the simple fact of like how traffic is, like how it's
everything's
like.
on.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
they drive.
yeah, it throws me. I didn't like. Then on top of that, like the siren for like police. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just
I know.
like, that shit's not even intimidating. Like, hey, I should like, oh, police are here.
Yeah.
I was like, that shit throws me off. Like, yeah, that shit is crazy.
One of the
So,
coolest things you could ever have happen to you
mhm.
is to be insulted by an English person. It's the most elegant way of being insulted in such a way that you're like, should I thank the person or should I be insulted? Like, dude, because the way they tell you to fuck off
Mhm.
is the most proper. yeah, delicate way. It's close to saying to Texans, "Bless your heart," but it was just like it's like thank you,
Damn, it's like
I
that.
guess.
Give me, can you give me an example?
Like they'll tell you politely to um sit and spin, kind of a
Oh
thing,
yeah, I heard about that. I think I was watching a video. I think each example was talking like this certain different slangs and shit that people say in the
and it
UK.
sounds so beautiful.
Yeah,
Like, oh, thanks, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, it's like the best thing ever.
talk about is it down there where a fag means cigarette?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's like I
yeah.
have a fag.
I was
I
just,
mean, and a fag is literally it's I love it. If you ever listen to a particular genre of music, the grime music, oh my gosh, that tells you right there. Their language is so expanding in the different ways that you could use a word, and it means so much differently. And it could be vulgar, but it can also be so sweet when they say it. So yeah, fag is a cigarette, and actually a fag is a bundle of sticks. So and gay, of course, they use a lot of
yeah,
words gay. I'm quite gay, thank you.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I'm quite gay, yes, absolutely. Um, but it's
What so like what's do like do they instead of saying have they say have
it all depends on
have?
what part of the UK are they from. Some drop consonants and some add consonants.
Oh
So
bloody
like
hell!
where like that sounds more like Scottish. But
Okay.
like for example, where I was being brought up near the London area, it's a lot of like they do a lot of this, a lot of like they instead of saying a lot of, they say a lot of,
Like a
and then we were a lot of like one of the things they used to always practice, my mom and I, we would say instead of you you got a lot of butter, you say got a lot of butter, got a lot of butter, and that's how you would actually pronounce got a lot of butter. You don't say you cut off a lot of the consonants in the letters.
so like
But
so just so like so if I were to say if I were to say bottle of water, I'll say bottle of water.
a bottle of water, a bottle of water.
Jesus Christ, that is like man.
Um, or they'll say a bottle of water. Like a bottle, it all depends like the class society. Like if you are
Yeah, I'll say that bitch
high
sound like a snob if you
money,
say it that way.
like a glass of water, a glass of water. They have to make sure it's pronunciated correctly and have every consonant identified in the sentence. But if you're like low class, you start dropping things. It's almost like a
Like a slang,
slang.
yeah.
Yeah. So what are you doing? You know, I got a lot of butter, don't you? In it. You know, they'd start doing all this weird like dialects, stuff like that. But if you're proper and you come from good money, you don't drop it because you can how you say it? You
I feel like if I was down there like long enough, I'd pick up on the
yeah.
dialect real quick.
It's really interesting though. There's so many things like especially like me being like you know that I my background, but not everybody that's listening to us. I'm a voiceover artist. So there's a person out there who is a voiceover coach who trains people to speak different types of English. Like if you want to talk like you're from Welsh or northern part of UK or southern part of UK, there's different ways of pronouncing your lettering, your sentences. She teaches you how to speak that way. Some British, and there's Australian, and then there's Scottish and all of that. So
Okay.
it's insane. Um,
Cause it like I say, it trips me out to hear it. You know what I mean? But like I said, I feel like just like say for example, like I've been in like Texas for so long, so I got that southern drawl to me. It's still there, you know what I mean? So it's like so it's there, but sometimes
You don't
like
have it as
I
bad as like me. Like
yeah
I'm really over exaggerating when I start talking to somebody.
yeah like I can like the only time I start talking like that is like get around my friends is like, hey, there ain't a lot. He hit that hoe, bro. Like, nah, for real, bro.
Yeah.
He hit that hoe. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and then like when I got down here, after being in it for so long, like I picked up the dialect of Atlanta. So I was like, you know what I'm saying? Goddamn, you know, time fuck that shit, goddamn. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
I tell you what.
Hey, time out, goddamn. You know, hey, not
Well, here's
here.
the thing. Here's the thing I learned about it is what we do is called code switching.
Mm,
Code switch. So when you talk to someone who is not of your clique group,
mm-hmm,
you kind of give them you fill them out on their conversation level
mm-hmm,
or by talking proper or talking more with enunciation
mm-hmm,
until you get to understand, oh, they don't talk like that, so let me hit that code switch by
mm-hmm,
talking kind of similar to you, mirroring
mm-hmm.
their dialect and their speech pattern
Right.
to have it's a different level of rapport, trying to get a proper connection with somebody. And you like you talk completely different with your colleagues versus your friends. You talk proper a little bit more, more respectful with colleagues or associates or somebody you know from high school
Mm-hmm.
that you don't know like that, versus your family. My voice is not high pitched when I talk to my kids. My
Mm-hmm.
voice is lower because
Mm-hmm.
I have that more authoritative speaking, and they're used to that. And it's a code switch. It's kind of like it's a code switch.
Right. No.
Um,
You're right. Cause I might be on the phone, like not phone, but I might be around the home. But it's like, man, hell nah, bro, you tripping? Like, nah, no, dead ass, bro. Like, no, she sounds like,
hmm
nah, bro, she lying like shit, G, like for real. Then phone might ring, it might be the job. Hello. Yes, this is him.
hmm
Already. Yep. Four
Exactly.
o'clock. Yep. Sounds good. All right. Talk to you later. Bye bye. Click. Nah, bro, I told you that.
Exactly.
No, bro, she lying, bro, for real. I done told. No, dead ass, bro. Like, why you lying, G? No, for real, son. Like, no, like she wants you, son. For real. Like, you know what I mean? Like you said, we can flip the switches like that, and I don't know why we do it. I don't know how or anytime we talk to our boss. It was like, yeah, no, you're right. Then it's like you can't really. You want to have that informal conversation with them or have the informal feel to it, but it's like you can't, so you got to kind of keep it proper.
Yeah.
Sometimes it makes me like cringe a bit because it's like I be
Yeah.
want to say yeah, but it's like I'll be like, oh well, yes, and then I gotta say no, thank you, yes, that's correct, you're right, absolutely, all right. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah. You feel like it because it's almost an unethical feeling. You're so
Mm-hmm,
used to believing that there's a certain time to talk to someone on that
mm-hmm,
level or that dialect or that speech pattern,
mm-hmm.
um, in a professional way versus it's involuntary, and it's something that it's so interesting to hear because being Afro Latina, I literally have to code switch all the fucking time.
Right.
Like right now, I have like multiple personalities just talking to you because there's moments where I have to reenact something from the past and I talk about something about the present and the future,
Mm-hmm,
and all of a sudden you can hear my voice change its pattern, its speech, dialect. You can start hearing the Latina side when I start talking about something about Latina. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
Then
That's
if I
hot.
talk about something, it's like, but then like if we start talking like um about something that pisses me off, like, man, that shit that pisses the fuck out of me. You know what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
all of a sudden I start doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Then like you start talking about the UK, and all of a sudden I get a little English, little
Mm-hmm.
accent. My accent starts coming into play. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh yes, I'm reenacting back in the day.
Well, go crumpets and
Uh,
tea. Pip
Doubly
pip
Sue,
pip pip cheerio.
but sure, yeah, we should like team crumpets. Oi.
What's some fish and chips?
Oh my God.
Instead of being fish and
Listen,
fries, it's fish and
fish and
chips.
chips. Oh man, that shit is the. Oof, that's so good. And they wrapped it up in actual newspaper. It
or
was
was
really fucking
or
awesome.
some or what they call spotted dick.
Yeah, yeah. But a
Everything I
dick
know.
is not
Yeah,
a dick.
they is the
Dick
reason
is not
why.
dick there.
Yeah,
It, you know what I mean? Dick is actually a rooster.
yep. They
When they
got.
say a spotted dick, it's actually a rooster. They're talking about like I used to I used to tell people like, oh, I'm gonna put on my willies because I'm going outside, and then your what? Like I'm gonna put my willies on,
Mm-hmm.
and willies are rain boots,
Right.
and dicky is raincoat. Like I gotta put my dicky and willies on. So dickies and willies, y'all. Gotta put some dickies and willies.
I remember when we first started talking. I remember the
Hmm.
first time you told me like you used to be a DJ, like or like used to go by DJ Jim Jam. This is before you started the Noise Palooza podcast. This is before you started
Hmm.
thinking about getting into podcasts and the voiceovers. But
Right.
I remember you used to say that you was a DJ, so you went by DJ Jim Jam, and then
Hmm.
that's when I called myself like letting you hear my first set of like songs I was doing or whatever at that time. So how exactly did you fall into the DJ gig, and how did you come up with DJ Jim Jam?
Okay, so thank you for that's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
So about
You asked me this question. You asked me the question about how I came up with my name on your podcast. So yeah, spill the beans. Mm-hmm. Do tell.
yeah, no problems. Okay, so in 2010,
Mm-hmm.
boy, I don't know, I don't even know if we're even born yet, but in 2000 and
Damn, what time out? How young you think I am?
just fucking
I was
with
about
you.
to say, I was like, damn. I mean, thank you, but shit, don't play now.
Oh my God. So, oh my God, that was even before that. Hold on, hold the fuck up. Yeah, it was 2009, 2010. So it was around the time that
Damn, I was in
I
middle
was
school.
in I was in college. So,
Damn,
yeah, and I was in
my
college,
bad.
and actually, I was actually going into college. I think I was going for I don't know what the fuck I was doing. It has something to do with science. I don't know what the fuck it was. Um, but one of the classes I had was dealing with art, and I became quite talented in drawing. So I started doing portraits for people. Um, but I also had some time on the side to do more. And I guess I was going through one of the campuses on the college campus. I was going through a hallway. I was connected to the actual college radio station.
Mm-hmm.
They had broadcast radio station through the internet, and they were kind of up tech with that shit. So I was like, this is pretty cool. And they were asking for people to volunteer to be a DJ for their own radio spot.
Mm-hmm.
I've never fucking did that before. And I was like, it's 2 hours of free time to do whatever I want, create my own theme, create my own DJ name, do my whole spiel.
Mm-hmm.
2 hours every Thursday evening. And I was like, bet I'll do something like that because I've never done it. I always wanted to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I created the name. And actually, that name of that show was called Noise Pulu Zion. You could probably look it up. It was on Carroll University in Waukesha, Wisconsin, through the radio station WCCX. And if you look it up in 2009, 2010, it was called Noise Pulu Zion. They actually spelled it wrong. They put noise pollution. But I actually identified it on my broadcast as Noise Pulu Zion, and that's how I created DJ Jim Jam. So Jim Jam is a mixture of, at the time, my nickname for myself was Genuine. This was before Genuine, that musician came up, but it was it was a combination of Gem and
Mm-hmm.
Jasmine.
Mm-hmm.
So Genuine, as in genuine gem,
Mm-hmm.
became that. But I was putting out jams, and I mixed Jim Jam, DJ Jim Jam, as my actual DJ name for Noise Palooza Zion. And I had that show for about, I think, almost about 6 months. And I actually had a couple of people who were calling in because at the time I was live shows for 2 hours. I had set up my whole track, a playlist. This is why I give like super props to people who would do this shit on a daily. It's dedicating time, it's trying to find a theme, it's trying to find enough information about songs and to do history, background, or whatever. This is how I actually started. So my themes were, and it's kind of interesting because I kind of carried on that same thing for Noise Palooza Zion podcast, but I enhanced it a little bit more for the podcast. But originally, the theme started off as playing songs based on the holiday or a theme from a different country every time. So, like if there was, I would celebrate the blossoming of the cherry blossoms in Japan. There was a
Hmm.
holiday for that. So I played nothing but Japanese songs based on the themes of the cherry blossom and give history about how that traditional thing started in Japan. And then the next week would be, something about St. Patrick's, and I would play nothing but pub songs or traditional old songs mixed with other musicians who probably did remixes on old songs, like Metallica did with old pub songs they did. So I would have that in there, and I would talk about the education of behind it. So that's how I kind of started it,
Hmm.
and then I enhanced it by Noise Palooza Zion started in 2021 as a podcast by promoting businesses and giving education history about that. So it all in all, I've always found a way to connect my listeners to educating them in some way by in, giving them something to grow with, education of history or education of people. That's why I also took a spin off on, doing business side of podcast to doing true crime because I also within that true crime podcast I'm educating about the LG. Oh my gosh, the Alphabet Mafia, the Alphabet Mafia's history, like Pride Month. All my stories are pertaining to people who fall in the LGBTQ community for the month of June. Month of May was all about Asian American Pacific Islanders History Month.
Hmm.
And then the before was dealing with MMIW, the murdered and missing Indigenous women.
Hmm.
So I always try, and then I also provide history in the reasons why I'm bringing this awareness
Hmm.
to my listeners, and then tell a story about someone who's missing, someone who was murdered, and how they can help. And then give them a bit of history about the culture of that person and where they come from. So it's like that's kind of like in a nutshell. That's how I came from one extreme to the other. How it's grown, it's developed and it's matured as time goes by. So that's the short of it, I guess.
Sure, nah, that's perfect. The more descriptive, the better. I'm fucking with it. That's what yeah, that's yeah, no, that's perfect. That the more descriptive, the better. Like I said, because I want people to know who this who this mystery woman is that I often
Yeah.
refer to in my story times and
Yeah.
stuff like
Yeah.
that.
That's
So
why.
no, the more the better. I like it.
That's why I follow your podcast. I'm like, what else he's gonna be saying some shit about me? I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
right. Cause and then on top of that, I know like whenever you're riding through like making your rounds while you're doing your courier stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I know you be wanting like some background noise. Pretty much, that's basically what a podcast
Mm-hmm.
is, just background noise. So I was like, well, shit, let me
Mm-hmm.
go and start putting these out. So that's why I was like, all right, well, let me make sure I put these. I think it was one episode. Damn it, I think I shouted you out. I think
Mm-hmm.
I said something. I said, well, Jasmine, listen to this high or something like that. I said, 'cause I
Mm-hmm.
think you either texted me, you did
I sure
something.
did.
Yeah, I think
Sure did.
uh,
If not, I commented on it.
yeah,
So
or
either
something,
way.
yeah, or something like that. And I said, well, Jasmine, you listening to this high, okay? So, yeah, but
I.
yeah, so I was like, okay, I forgot what episode I did that in, but I do remember like saying,
I.
I do remember saying something like, I know I mentioned you, I know I did in one, but
Yeah.
yeah,
A
no,
couple times. Yeah.
yeah, a
And then
couple
he
times
talked.
I
Then he
did.
went on. Then he went on a spiel about some chick, some random chick that fucked you over again. God knows how many
Yeah,
times. I feel like I just want to like ear punch. and then have their face accidentally like come into view at
Yeah,
the same
yeah,
time that I'm air punching. But it is what it is, you know.
yeah. You know, have them slip
To
and fall on a
me,
fork. You know, so yeah,
to me, it's their loss. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
I see a guy who's got so much potential, like dude. And if I had a sister, whatever. Unfortunately, I don't. I kind of do. I have two half sisters. I've never met them, but I know they look like me, and they're like 6 years younger than I am,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of in your range, anyways. But like, I don't like,
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I like older women. Cougars, holla at me.
and that's the end of the show.
You know what I'm saying? And that's all we have time for, ladies and
And
gentlemen.
that's
Now,
it. And look at the time. Yeah. Okay.
right
Anyways.
now, but
Uh,
that's like I said, the more descriptive the better, because I want people to know who exactly you are. You know what I mean? So, like I said, whether they come watch it, which please do, but if they don't, you know what I mean, at least they know who this person that I keep referring to as Jasmine. You know what I mean?
I mean,
I want them to know
yeah.
who this person is. Cause like I said, you know, they might stumble across your podcast one day or something like that, or something else that
Put
you
it
might.
below.
Yeah, like I said, it's in the description box down below. Y'all check that out. You know what I mean? But like I said, if they, you know, I just want them to know who this person is. But
Yeah.
I was gonna say like I said, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, make sure you go check out our podcast. Shit's dope. The first episode of Hands Off, my podcast, I'm not gonna lie to you, that shit had me
Mm,
wired. I was like, and the thing about that podcast too,
yeah.
which like we don't get into like some real heavy shit in a minute, but the thing about that episode, like the atmosphere you created, like that was the shit. Like I felt like I was listening to like an audiobook. Like that's what it felt like. It didn't and audiobook is cool. Like I love audiobooks, so that's not like a knock to your like craft, but like it you created this atmosphere where it was like where it was like you had this atmosphere of like suspense but yet eerie, like you know what I'm saying,
Hmm.
you got this thing where it's like you take a left, take a right, brick wall, like you know what I'm saying, like type shit, like you know what I mean. So it's just like if it ain't one thing then it's this, but oh wait, there's more, you know what I mean, like the first episode where you gave like your synopsis about like who you are. And I know we
Hmm.
talked a lot off camera, and I know it was like there was things that you like touched on, but you didn't really like go
I
into
didn't.
detail.
That's just the. That was just this
Yeah,
much.
like the tip of the
There's
iceberg,
a
pretty much.
whole lot.
Like I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I know I say a lot, Jasmine. That like time out for a second, ladies and gentlemen. Here I want y'all to understand something. Like if you I say this shit a lot because I really mean this. Like, and this is like no on no sim shit, nothing like that. Get you a hug, okay, bro. Like I know it's funny. I know you're probably giggling like a motherfucker right now, but I'm saying, get you a hug. All right, bro. I'm telling you, like a hug is scientifically proven that will release endorphins in your brain. That is like the same feeling. Endorphins in your brain is the same feeling that you get when you take ecstasy. That's the same shit. So if you
Hmm.
ever get a hug, you release those endorphins and you feel good about yourself, about everything. Jasmine, I'm not gonna lie to you. After that first episode, I wanted to literally fucking book a ticket that day and give you a fucking hug.
Oh
Like
my god.
no joke. Like like it hits close to home because I know people that have
Hmm.
experienced, you know, fuck it, we just gonna dive into it. I've known people that have experienced, you know, being molested as a child. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And not even being like believed. You know, believing somebody
Hmm.
that you believe a random man that you've only known for a set amount of days, weeks, or whatever. You've given birth, not saying you, but you've given birth to someone that is your flesh and blood, your child,
Hmm.
and you believe some random man over your own child. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like that shit was just like gut wrenching to me. And I know
Hmm.
somebody who has been in that same position my damn self. Now, thank God, you know, moms and pops kept me away from shit like that. You know, I was always under their supervision. But, you know, I know people that have been like traumatized by that shit. Like there's this girl I know that like she used to be like the most like she was really like outgoing, real sweet, but she had this thing about people touching her. Like she was like
Mm-hmm.
dead set on people touching her. Like stop touching me. Like like the same feeling or the same reaction you would do if like you had me doing something or whatever, and something unbeknownst to you like touches you and you like what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you do
Mm-hmm.
that, like that's how she was. Anytime that like you like, oh hey, she, what I mean? Like don't touch me, like stop fucking touching me. You know what I mean? And then like you also have like the after effects of that, which I never understood it, but sometimes when you have things like that happen to you, and if you don't get like counseling for that, it makes you hypersexual. And I didn't even know this was a thing. Like I think they said that that was the same thing R. Kelly was going through. Like since at a young age when he was exposed to sex, he never really got that in check, so it made him like hypersexual. Not excusing him because
Mm-hmm.
of course the shit he did was crazy, but you
No,
know,
it's a pattern. It's a
yeah, like
pattern.
yeah, it's
I
like
went through the
a
same thing. Actually, I went through the same thing.
really.
My diary is full of it. When my son got a hold of it, he was like, "Mom, oh my God, mom, oh my God, mom!" Like, dude, like, yeah, that was hypersensitive, like
Mm,
extremely promiscuous and adventurous in sexual things. And I also knew that it was a healing journey for myself,
mm,
not just for that. So, yeah, you do you, and it's just now that I found out later on when because I the backstory behind episode one is before that even started. I was reaching out to all of my family on my dad's side, and I have a couple of things that have never been released on some of the conversations that I've had with the women.
mm,
I want to release that as probably a part two
mm,
because it goes deeper than what it was on episode one. But outside of that, so when I was reaching out to my family on Facebook, I got a lot of like people who were like, "Yes, support and all that. Like you do it, girl. You are like a warrior. You are resilient. You are strong. You are calling it out like it needs to be called out. Someone needs to be accountable for that, and you need to, you know, show your strength and show that you are resilient in regards to a situation like that. And yes, whoever that is, they need to fucking pay the price or whatever the case may be."
mm,
And I had my aunt, the aunt that I had, I, I don't want to call them out saying that they're my favorite aunt, but at the time when I was younger, they were my favorite aunt. I loved them to pieces. I considered them as an extended part of being my mother that I lacked in my childhood.
mm,
And I would always call to her. I always be, ask for her to help me, and she was always there for me. To be the person to tell me straight out on Facebook, how dare you call out your dad? Do you not know what type of condition he's in? Do you not know that he was just diagnosed that he's dying of cancer? Do you not know what's going on with his life? Excuse me? The person who's been dealing with being the victim, who is trying to heal from being sexually assaulted by their own father, who is a grown man,
mm.
you're telling me I should give sympathy to the person who victimized me?
Right.
On top of that, you are like my favorite aunt that I thought that would be like rooting on for me, like you go girl, and you finally, stepping up to the next level of healing or whatever the case may be,
Mm,
to be the one who tells me, "How dare you? You have no right to call him out like that. You should be ashamed of yourself. That's embarrassing." On Facebook, like, go fuck yourself. Like
right.
seriously,
Right.
how dare you? And even though she was one of the voices that was like trying to shoot me down, there was like 10 other people who were like rising me up like, dude, you don't know that, I've heard from my other aunt who was actually sexually assaulted by her own brother.
Mm,
she actually got impreg. This is gonna be like probably part two.
Mm-hmm.
She was pregnant with my dad's child. His sister he impregnated. She had to get an abortion at the age of 14.
Mm.
And this shit goes deep. The people in this fucking family have found a way to turn a blind eye. A lot of the shit that went down, a lot of the shit that's just like they're trying to like keep it underneath, and it's like it's poisoning us. It's poisoning every generation of us as we continue to let it happen, to allow it. You are allowing it. You are an enabler. You are encouraging this type of behavior by being silent. You can't be silent anymore.
Right.
They want you to be silent. When they start threatening, like if you tell your parents, I'm going to kill your sister, or hypothetically, which is what happens,
Mm-hmm.
they threaten your life to keep it hidden. Um, you know, knowing that I'm in a safe area to say that's not going to work for me,
Mm-hmm.
but for someone who's actually in that situation at that time,
Mm-hmm.
it's a scary fucking moment when they tell you that they're going to kill your loved one or your closest one or your mother or father, and it could be an uncle or an aunt who's doing this to you,
Mm-hmm.
and they're threatening to kill off if you tell somebody. That's a fucking scary thing for a child. Period. Of
Right.
course, they're going to be submitted to that, submissive to that. So it's it's some serious shit, man. And when you said your friend who was like didn't want to be touched by anybody, that's another. And I have that too. Like I smell a particular soap, and I have flashbacks.
What kind of soap?
Um, it was like I think it was Irish Spring. It wasn't Irish Spring. It
Fuck.
was something else. It was something Coast, something Ivory Coast. Not I know it starts with a coast in it. It's got the word coast.
Okay.
Every time I smell it, every time I smell it, I go flashback on my father in moments that I was living with him at the time of. It's PTSD. It's another level of PTSD.
Mm.
Being touched by somebody, because that's something that had happened to them. It gives them a reaction, like a fight and flight
Yeah.
reaction.
Just like
Action.
said,
So
just like said, PTSD.
yeah, it's PTSD.
Just
It's just
like,
another level of it.
just like, like war vets when like during that time when they smell mustard gas, like you
Yeah,
know what I mean, like
there's so many different facets
different
to getting
triggers.
PTSD. You can get PTSD from being a domestic abusive relationship, which is what I have on top of that, on top of
Mm.
being sexually abused, on top of being physically abused, on top of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like certain noises, certain smells, um, just different things kind of give me flashbacks. I'm able to control it more because I talk myself, you know,
Talk yourself
saying that it's
down.
not happening, that it's not happening, that it's okay, you're in a safe space, it's
Mm.
not happening. Kind of get myself out of it because I will have that, like I'm in a box and I can't breathe, like
Mm.
anxiety, like an anxiety attack.
Right.
Um, so it's gotten better as time went by because now I'm in a place where I'm loved.
Mm.
I'm with beautiful people that I surround myself with positive light, and
Absolutely.
before I wasn't. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad. I'm glad I could be. I'm glad I could be of one of those people you just named off in the positive. Like
Yes.
I'm really glad that I can't be that because that's all like that's all I ever found myself to be like, especially like in that place that I was at where like where I used to where you used to come and get the ice and stuff. Like I felt like I was probably like the only positive person in there, and like people didn't like that. Like
Oh
you know what I'm
God.
saying? So it was just like
Yeah.
so it was like so to meet somebody that's on that same wavelength as me, like you know what I mean? Like I just want just positivity. That's all I want to be around. I don't want to be around negative shit all the time. So whenever you came around and you accepted, like you knew you saw that and you accepted that with open arms, I was like, I
Hmm.
cannot let this person go. Like, I refuse to let communication fall. Like with everybody else who I dealt with, I refuse to let that shit fall. You know what I'm saying? Like I will do everything in my power to keep this thing going. I will not let this fall. Going back to your to the whole thing about trauma from like sexual assault and molestation and stuff like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
remember, fuck, I shouldn't be saying this inside information, but I'm saying it anyway. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so remember when I asked you to do like the skit kind of sort of at the end of one of the songs where I asked you to be like a news reporter and I
Mm-hmm.
report on my death or whatever,
Yeah.
which I know you said it was like really difficult for you to do because I can hear how like how sad it made you sound, like what I mean, because even though it's supposed to be like you're like a news reporter, which is like they're kind of like stern and like you just get to the point A, point B, all right, cut, you know what I mean, but I know it was kind of like difficult for you to do, which I apologize for you putting you in that position, which I know
No, it's
I
okay.
yeah I know you don't like, I know you don't mind it, but it's like
It's okay.
I don't. Only reason why I talk about it is because like I feel like I'm in control over it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
if I felt like I wasn't in control over like those types of things, and I couldn't talk about it, then there'd be a problem. You know what I mean? Where
Right.
it's like like you can't. Somebody ask you like, "What's the matter?" If you know exactly what's the matter, you can like narrow it down, like down to like the most minuscule detail of what's the matter. And like that's the point where I'm at right now. Like I know what's the matter. You know what I mean? But I speak it in the perspective of folks that feel that way, but they don't really know how to get it out. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? And it's like you got people that like feel that way, but when you see them, it's like all smiles and Hallmark cards. Like no joke, there was this guy named damn, it's kind of tough. This guy named Everesto. We used to call him Slow. He wasn't slow at all, but that was his
Mm-hmm.
nickname he wanted us to call him. Cool dude, Spanish dude. He was mad cool, mad cool. And at the time we was like in rap, like we was like deep in the rap, and goddamn dude. I remember we was in class one time, and we was like talking about rapping and stuff like that. It was like, like I said, we was just in class, just like just talking, talking shit. And I remember he was talking about he could rap and stuff like that. So we listened to a few of his raps. I was like, yeah, he was really good. And he used to walk up on me all the time. He said, "Yo, what's up, Justin? Yo, what's up, man?" And, dab me up and everything. He was mad cool, mad cool. You know what I mean? Good dude. And I remember having for class. I forgot what period it was. He was there the entire week up until like Friday. I don't remember what day it was, but he wasn't there. He normally was there every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we came to class. I saw he wasn't there, so I was like, oh, okay, well he not here today. All right, whatever. We in school. It's that person not here today. So I was like, well damn, he must not be here, or he probably in a different class, or he probably gonna do something. Whatever the case is. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember my teacher, Dr. Lilly. He walked in with this look on his face that I've never seen him have. Like, our teachers got like that angry, happy, I don't feel like doing shit today face. You know what I mean? Like, those types
Right.
of like looks on their faces. This was a look that I had never seen him have on his face at all. And mind you, like I remember him, I had him from middle school. Like I had him like for a class in middle school. I forgot what the name of the fucking class was, but I've had him as a teacher in middle school, and then he came to our high school or whatever. And never have I ever, out of all my days of seeing him, have I ever seen him have this look on his face. He had just had this like this long look on his face,
Mm.
and most of the time the class would be like rowdy or whatever. And I remember he stood up there in this tone. I never heard him speak in this tone. He was like, well, sorry, I was like, all right, class, everybody sit down, settle down. That cop floundered everybody, you know how teachers normally do. And he was like, all right, class. Everybody just got quiet. So we all looking at him, and we knew something was up. So he was like, and mind you, he used to be in the military. He was a Navy SEAL, so he had this thing where he had to have a hearing aid in because he used to do a lot of like deep dives or whatever. So once you get to a
Mm-hmm.
certain amount of feet, the pressure gets to be very intense.
Rutgers.
Yeah, it gets to
Mm-hmm.
be very intense. So they said after like a few, when he used to tell us when he used to deep dive like that, they used to tell us after a few amount of feet, you to blow your ears out so the pressure doesn't hurt your ears or whatever. But he never did it. So because of that, those effects, long term effects, he has to wear a hearing aid.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have a hearing aid in, he can't hear shit. And trust me, we knew this
Mm.
because a lot of times we knew he have his hearing aid in. We used to cuss loud as shit across the classroom, and he couldn't hear nothing. We would say, "Fuck," real loud. He'll just look up.
Mm.
We used to fuck with him all the time. But
Mm-hmm.
this day was different because he was like, "Class," we got quiet. He was like, Everesto. Normally he would be here today, but today he isn't here. Last night he killed himself. It was like, what? Like, everybody looked around. Was like, what? Like, yo, like, and it was like a punch to the stomach because it was just like he was just right next to me yesterday. And he asked, "Yo, what's up, Jay? You good? You good, bro?" Like, "Yeah, I'm chilling, man. All right, that's what's
Mm.
up." Yo, when we gonna get on a song together? We was just chopping it up the day before. The day before,
Mm.
everything was gravy. We was cool. Like, everything was all good. Never did I ever suspect that he was going through something that bad that made him want
Mm.
to do that. You know what I mean? Like, that shit fucked me up for a while. I was like, what?
Mm.
That was my first dose of like suicide. And then my second dose of it was my cousin. He ended up killing himself. He shot himself in the head over this girl that he liked, and I don't know the real dynamics of the in betweens of that, but the girl that he was dealing with, I guess it got too much to the point where it pushed him to that point, and he ended up killing himself. He shot himself in the head,
Mm.
and my cousin was like, I never knew much of him, but he was like really deep in the cars, you know what I mean? And when that happened to him, like, that was just like some crazy shit, you know what I mean? Like, but that was like my first ever like stint with like ever experiencing with someone who committed suicide. And then mine was, I'm pretty sure you heard this story too, but this is when I was in middle school. This was like when I don't say freshman because that shit don't really count in middle school, but um, I was like maybe what's that? Shit, maybe sixth, maybe seventh grade. I had a math teacher named Miss Wilkerson. Couldn't stand it. Like, I don't like her to this day still. She eventually ended up apologizing later on, but she was the worst. And I remember she had this thing where she used to always call your parents if she felt like you weren't paying attention, if you were failing her class. Matter of fact, she went down the line and she said, "Everybody pay attention. If you fail in my class, write down your phone number because I'm calling your parents." And she, of course, my black ass was always on there because I fucking hated math. I hated it. I would always struggle between like the D and the C, maybe C plus if I tried, but math just was not hitting for me. When they put letters in that shit, that's when we had problems. When they started saying 2A plus B
Mm-hmm.
equals 3C, I was like, what the fuck is this shit? I had no idea what that was. And even when I paid attention, it just wasn't clicking. I hated it. And I'll never forget the time where like it just got bad. It got really fucking bad. So she was doing this thing where she used to always like, try to get people to call home. So I swear to God, I was paying attention in class. I can't make this up. I was literally paying attention in class. And I might have looked down at my notes for a minute and I was trying to like figure out what the hell I just wrote down. And she calls my name. I'm like, yeah. She was like, "Are you paying attention to what I'm doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I was just no. Matter of fact, call home. Yeah, go off there, call home."
Mm.
I put my pencil down. I was like, "Bro, this don't make no fucking sense." Got up there, called, whatever. And she had a call off, so you can't fake the phone number, which I done did several times. But eventually, I had to do it because she, the call log was there. So anyway, she had So eventually, my mom pick up the phone, and then Miss Wilkerson get on the phone, and then she tell him, I'm not paying attention, whatever. He's failing my class, needs to come out to school to do tutoring and stuff like that, which I fucking hated doing. I hated staying at the school for any of that shit. All of my years of high school, the 9th through 12th, I never stayed after school. I might have came in before, but I never stayed after school. So anyway, so back to that. So my mom got on the phone, of course, chewing me out in typical mom fashion. You stay after school, you get them grades up. You don't touch shit when you get home. Get them grades up, yada yada. So all right, whatever. So of course I said that, but I was all right. So came out of school. Miss Wilkinson was there. She was like, all right, what was the grade? I think she said that he failed my test and he had to do test corrections and blah 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 blah. So came out of school, did all of that. Now, most of the time with teachers, the thing is with teachers, most of the time when they're staying out of school, they don't get paid for that. They're literally staying out of school for you. So once it hits whatever time school is out, they're off the clock. So
Yeah.
so most teachers don't like staying after school. So most of the time they have like this 30-minute, 45-minute thing after school. After that, look, get out of here. Like, I'm trying to go home. You know what I mean? But after a certain amount of time passed, I didn't know how long she stayed. Some teachers do an hour, some teachers do an hour and a half, whatever. It just all depends on how many are like coming. So I remember some time went by, and I guess I didn't make it clear enough. I wasn't trying to leave tutoring early. My thing was, I know that teachers stay after school for a certain amount of time, so I thought that my time was up. So I was like, okay, Ms. Wilkerson, it's so and so o'clock. Should I go on and go home? She's like, no, you shouldn't go home. Matter of fact, call home. Yeah, call home. I was like, what the fuck? All right, bro. So I went up there, called. So I
Mm-mm.
called home. Well, called my mom at work, gave the teacher the phone, and she went down the line on my ass. She was lying so hard. I was just like, you can't be for real. She talked about how I was talking.
Mm-mm.
I came out to school after I was like, I said that it's so and so o'clock. Can I go home? She's trying to make it sound like it was the most disrespectful shit I ever said to a teacher in the world. And my mom's ate it up. I was like, Jesus Christ, dude. So I was
Mm.
I was pissed. So after some time went on or whatever, like, so I sat down, tears running down my face. I was pissed. Tears ran down my face. I'm pissed. And she was like, you better be crying and grading that paper over there, doing the test corrections. I was like, I ain't say shit. And
Mm-mm.
then after time was up or whatever, she, told everybody to go ahead and go home or whatever. I remember I walked home. That probably was like the longest walk home, which I was only like a
Mm.
few blocks away, but that was probably the one walk home where I literally kept saying under my breath, I hate my life. I hate my life. I hate my life. I hate my life. Like, I never got that close to a suicidal thought ever since then that day. I
Mm.
doubt that was probably the one time I ever thought about it. Like, no joke. Like, I thought it was that bad to the point where I even thought some shit like that. And I never had that thought since then. But I use it as a muse, if you will, that, what I'm saying, like, these things are real. Like, mental health is real. Like, I got parents that really don't come from that mental health thing. It's mostly just like throw some dirt and rub some dirt in it, you'll be okay. You know what I mean? Type shit. But anytime,
Mm-hmm.
like, something like that kicks up, it's like, you know, I think about that a lot sometimes. You know what I mean? The time that I came close to that. So
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
that's it's just real. Like I've had so many times that I've had the ideations and it's when you're in that moment,
Mhm.
it's like that seems like there's no way out other than that way out.
Mhm.
And it's shit's real, man. It's real. I remember one of my cousins, she was can't remember, she was probably like 4 or 5 years old.
Mhm.
She was young. And I always try to tell people this story. And I mean, she's alive today, but she attempted suicide at the age of 5 years old. They found her she tried to hang herself with her own jumping rope.
Mhm.
She had rope marks on her skin. This little baby's, her baby neck. Like,
Mhm.
I'm thinking, like, what leads a child up to the point, the age of 5 to snuff their own life. They barely just started life. Like what?
Right. Right. Right.
And I remember her telling me. when I finally came back, and her brother found her hanging,
Mm,
which was probably he was a couple years older than she was. He found her hanging in a jump rope, I think, in her bedroom.
mm,
Caught her because if he didn't check on her, she would have been gone.
mm.
And she kept saying she hated her life. Nobody loves me. Nobody loves me. Like, to have, I've always thought to myself, like, it at that time when I was a teenager and that was going on, I was like, if I ever have kids, if I ever have kids, I will never have any child that comes in my home feel the way she felt. I would not want to walk around with, to me, I feel like I would be guilty of her death or the child's death because it was like blood on my hands for not giving the time and day to a child who is reaching out for love and affection and not getting it and not receiving it. To the point where they have to think that the time that they can ever get love or receive love or get recognition is by doing this to themselves or just saying, no, nobody loves me at all. Why am I here? Let me just end it.
Mm,
Like, it's scary as fuck. But when you're in that moment,
mm.
I've been there too many times.
Yeah, that shit is that
It's
that that
just real.
that's some treacherous territory. Like I said, I never been to that point since then. I never got
Hmm.
to that point ever again. But damn it, I'll be lying to you if I say if like what would life be after if I did it. You know what I mean? And I remember
Right.
I sat up late at night one time thinking about this shit to the point where I was like it moved me to tears because I was just like damn, like how would I be remembered? You know what I mean?
Right.
I was making songs about the shit, like I was making songs about it, and the thing that be like kind of I don't say destroying me, but sometimes it be kind of like making me mad. It's like I know what people want. You know what I mean? And like I know what they want. I know what sound they want, but it's like these are like some vulnerable fucking moments I'm talking about here. Like you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
this is like some shit that's really going on with me right now. Like the time where like I talked about me going to a kickback and I felt like I felt like nobody genuinely fucked with me. Like you know what I'm saying? Like once the people because they were like it was like maybe a few people that was there. One girl that genuinely like she was just like you know she was like cool. You know what I mean? But once she left, it was like I felt like I was by myself with a bunch of people in the room. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like that's what it felt like. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody wanted to dance with me. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody wanted to converse. Everybody had somebody that they wanted to fuck with, but I was like the only one. So it was just like so like there were times I would get up and I would go to the bathroom to try to make it sound like I was like sick, but I was really going in the mirror. I was just like, dog, what the fuck? Like what's wrong with me right now, bro? Like why am I
Hmm.
feeling like this? You know what I'm saying? I did it like several times. And you know what I mean? Like that was my first time ever going to what they call a kickback. That was the first time I ever going to one, and I haven't been back to one since. But you know that was just like how I felt about it. So I must. That was probably one of the fastest. I don't say it was a song, but that was probably one of the fastest things I ever wrote ever in my life. I wrote that like in 20 minutes and recorded it in like five. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So it was like that. Like I said, that was just something I was genuinely like. I was genuinely like feeling at the moment. You know what I'm saying? So but yeah, that suicide shit like that really like fucked me up because for it to be that close, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, my own like not necessarily attempt, but an idea of it ever passing my mind, and that being so intrusive, like I'll never forget that day and that feeling because it was just like it was one of those things where I was just like, damn, maybe not being here is probably the best route right about now. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like I had that shit like in my mind. It was deep. It was like deeply rooted in my mind. But no, like definitely you made some definitely fucking good points. And like I said, Jasmine, I I I do not want to lose contact with you by any means at all whatsoever. Like I refuse to let that. I've let a lot of shit slide. Like I've let a lot of people like I've deleted a lot of numbers in my phone. I don't even have your number. We got an app, but like if you were a number in my phone and I deleted every number. Your number alongside with like my parents and stuff like that. Your number probably the last one standing. most definitely.
Mm.
Like I refuse to let you go by any means. I don't give a fuck whether you in the wrong, I'm in the wrong. I'm one of those ones where I will take the bullet even if it wasn't my fault.
Mhm.
Like that. Like that's how strong my love is for you, and I mean that. You know what I mean?
Thank
So
you.
like, I genuinely mean that. But one last question, and I swear to God, I'm gonna let you go because
Okay.
my eyes are burning. That shit is,
Oh, yeah, yeah, actually
yeah, my
this
eyes are,
coffee ain't helping anymore and I drink this is all coffee.
yeah,
Sad to say.
yeah, yeah, my eyes are burning right now. But I'm fighting to try to get this shit done because because editing is gonna be a motherfucker. I already know it. But
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah, it's all good.
so last question is, what made you start doing the podcast, Noise Palooza on, hands off, doing voiceovers? Like, what made you like start doing it? And like, yeah, let's just go with that.
Okay. Well, I think I've hit on it a little bit in the beginning on the other questions, but
Mm-hmm.
to be more, I guess, in more in depth, do like you. I was was it born in Philadelphia, born and raised? Yeah, raised. I remember how you started the podcast with me. I was raised born and raised on a playground. So I was like, no, no, no. You're like, oh, no, 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 wait, wait, wait. I was like, but anyways, no, I'm getting kind of goofy, so you can cut that out.
I'm
Uh,
keeping that.
no, no. Okay, so anyway, how I started or why I started it. Okay, so voiceovering, um, was kind of like it started off. I'll try to do the short of the long of it.
Mm-hmm.
Try, but I'll have as much detail as I can without, boring everybody.
Make a long story less long.
Yeah. So,
Giggity. All right.
dude, let me focus.
Okay, my bad. My bad.
Okay.
Sorry.
Jesus Christ. All right, so giggity giggity. um, so being a parent, I enjoyed doing storytelling, story time, like you do your story time, but I did
Mm-hmm.
story time in different ways by reading a story for them for bed, and I would always and create the characters' voices in the stories to kind of give it more of a flair. And I really enjoyed doing that. And the kids, of course, they're giggling it up. They're eating off of it. And oh my gosh, mom, do it again, do it again. So I really enjoyed that. And as they got older, they no longer needed that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it kind of goes way before that as well. I enjoyed listening to my elders talk of stories of the past,
Mm-hmm.
stories about their life.
Right. Keep going. I'm listening.
And and so I was just in awe of learning so much from my elders, to the point where I was intrigued of storytelling as life, storytelling in history, storytelling of enriching about culture and traditions. That I kind of carry that in as to trying to find myself and to who I am and where I come from. And as I became a mother, storytelling part of reading books to my kids, it's just like it was a combination of different things in my life that I kind of bounded and enhanced and created something into something that I enjoy doing by doing voices. And from the background that I have, living in the UK, being raised in a Latina home, so I
Mm-hmm.
have the flair of different things, and I really enjoy linguistical things. So, and I love to experiment. There's a lot of really trial and errors in regards to all the different types of voiceovering, but I've learned how to speak French. I've learned how to speak German,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and Arabic. So,
Oh,
because
okay.
I mean, I have that different flares, and I know you're dozing off, but
Mm-hmm.
um, shut the. fuck up.
What? No, what I do?
You're like, yeah,
No, I was listening. My bad. I ain't my bad. I ain't mean to do that. Yeah, because I was just trying to make sure. I was trying to make sure that I wasn't like dead over here. I was like, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I'm listening.
yeah. Hydrate. Gotta hydrate.
Right, gotta hydrate.
So I mean, that's the kind of the short of it. And plus, I was a singer, so I also sang soprano. And
Can you sing now?
I haven't warmed up my voice, but what would you like? What would you like? Um, and do some oldie but goodies. Love me some Mary J. Blige, but you know.
I might need you on some backup vocals one day. I don't know.
Just sing a lot of "Killing Me Softly" from Roberta Flack. I was doing the karaoke and stuff, but I did some Tina Turner's. I love that. Plus, I also started doing vamping songs. So, like, you know what vamping is, right?
No, but I'm pretty sure you're about to tell me.
I am. I'm trying to do the short of it. So, if you hear a lot of the heavy metal songs where they rough it like this, and they start doing like but they do it like hardcore in the songs. Like I did that. Does a lot of damage to your voice, but
Damn sure does.
it's like a serious cool thing to do if you can do it. You can do a lot of that in music. So I used to do that in my songs, and I was like probably at around that time one of the only women that knew how to do it. So when Mariah was doing the whistling singing, I was doing vamping. But yeah, I love anyway. So there's a different levels of singing. So I brought that into voiceovering because not only do you have to be a voiceover artist, there's sometimes you have to do like singing, like pop song, jingles. Jingles is a part of voiceovering. So I wanted to expand myself. So I'm going around in circles because I'm exhausted. Not exhausted, but my eyes are getting tired. So, what was the question? Okay, so the moral of the story is
yeah. I mean, you
that's how
answered
I
it.
started my voiceovering. And then that being stated in regards to voiceovering, how I got into podcasting is that I had customers that were prospective customers and some people that kind of passed me by saying, we're looking for someone different. We're looking for someone with more background, more experience, or whatever the case may be. It is what it is. It got me thinking, like, we're all struggling artists. We're all business owners in some aspect. If I can't satisfy those business owners and getting the commercial that they need, maybe they need another perspective by having me advertising their business through my podcast. That's how that Voice Blue Zion podcast started, is by extending my business, the voiceover side, to promoting a business side without being the voiceover for them.
Okay. All right, and then of course in the beginning you covered the hands off my podcast. You covered that in the beginning, so no need to answer that again. And then you talked about voiceovers too, so you covered you covered everything in that question. So that is 100%.
My sexual orientation, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
salsa.
I mean, you touch all the areas
Sure
without even
did.
touching them.
Yep, sure did. Yep, me too. I don't give a fuck. Do it.
Just touching to get all your fingerprints all over everything.
All right, you
Just
know what I'm saying?
all over.
Like, yeah, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I mean?
Oh man,
This shit was cool.
Jasmine in the raw. See, I told you got Jasmine in the raw. Like, dude, you got me. Like, literally.
Speaking of raw, no, I'm joking. Word, son, what do you do, YouTube? It's your boy DiVine. All right, man, I know I normally do this at the beginning of the video, but it is now the end. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate y'all stopping through, check out the podcast if you made it all the way to the end. Shout out to Jasmine, my best friend, probably one of the coolest people I ever met in my life, and I'm really glad that she's a part of my life. Shout out to Jasmine, love you to death. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the like button, comment, subscribe, share the word spread links, because you know how I do. Click the 2 videos down there. Check those 2 out, man. You will not be disappointed. Yeah, I'm going to get up out of here, man. It's your boy DiVine, and I'm signing out. Peace.